Welcome to the Radical Rhythm Podcast. This has been created for those of us that love radical women who live perhaps by the rules, but also question and challenge the status quo. We want more from our lives, to enjoy our sexuality, to explore radical thought, and to celebrate women who have lived and continue to live unconventional lives. Hi, I'm Dr. Toni Brall, sexologist, educator, activist, and definitely a radical woman. Thank you for joining me as I share stories of women challenging the status quo and living life to the fullest. Join me as we unapologetically march to the beat of a different drummer together. Welcome to the Radical Rhythm Podcast. Today, I am thrilled to have Claudia Brall with me. And, she is an individual that I took her class not knowing why. And I am so excited that she has become a mentor to me. And I wanted to take this episode and introduce you to Claudia and not just keep all that wisdom to myself. I want to share with the world. Claudia, thank you for agreeing to this interview and for appearing on the Radical Rhythm podcast. Um, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became a mentor? How did I meet you online? Like, what was your path to that place?
That was a big sigh. Well, I'll start. I was born in Canada in 1957, so counting, I'm now about to approach 64. I have 4 children, 5 grandchildren, so I've got a tribe there. But nevertheless, I'm saying I'm independent. I'm sovereign, okay, to my own life. And this has been quite an interesting, sometimes pretty crappy and difficult story, okay? So I've encountered through, let's say, until I was about 35, very difficult times with a lot of energy feeding, manipulation, corruption, keeping myself small, not knowing what I'm doing here. But there was always this deep drive within me to say, go forth. This is only a part. This is not the real McCoy. This is not your true life. Keep going. You'll find it. And so I've just went on, and I began to intuit after my divorce with 4 small children from the age of 1 to 6. I was living in England at the time, that when I can't identify myself with being just a mother, a wife, a conform figure within all the constructural setups that we've been born into, even society, then there is something else I don't know about. And I then had some very deep mystical experiences, and which show me that hearing doesn't just happen with the ears or the outer ear. There's some kind of hearing that's hidden, and unless you ask, it won't come forth. Okay, so I've started asking, what is this all about? Why am I here? Why am I having these experiences with beings of light? I just name it for what it is. And I was given information about my human biological life. So that made me very curious. I was always that, okay? And this inner voice, I understand today, is like the song of my soul. That is my heart. That brings forth all this information, all these potentialities and potentials and possibilities to really break out of the norm. Of course, it was scary, right? When I tell you a small anecdote, I went down to the playground with my 4 kids, sat 4 of them one side of the swing and I the other, and we seesawed back and forth. And I was singing from the top of my head. And once it stopped, my daughter, when she got down, she was 3.5, she got off the swing and said, "Mum, why can't you be a real mum?"
Mm.
And it was like taking all the wind out of my sails, right? So that was a moment I clearly knew that I was so different, and acknowledging it, but without making me different. I just knew that I was being something that, where I was diving into who I really am, not who I would like to be, right? And what people expected of me, and where I had to go to be acknowledged and to fit in. That was the least of my worries, right? So it just took on from there. I then, by choice, internal choice, but by outside coincidence, right? I found an article in a paper looking for a spiritual class to be developed, and for members who wanted to know about chakras. I had no clue about chakras. So I rang this lady, told her about my encounters and where I was at that time, and things just started from there. So I enrolled in the class, and that's how I really got, for the first time, to acknowledge that there is energy, and that energy moves everything. It even moves the pain, the sorrow, the doubt, the fears, anxiety, and shame and guilt, and you name it, right? But if I'm not aware of this energy that I am, and I could feel it in my body, my biological human body, then we sort of stay stuck, and we always keep asking, well, what's this all about? Right? Do I have a destiny? The stars will tell me. Okay, I've got an astrologer. Okay, or an oracle or whatever. And so that was really the beginning of my journey. And I'm going back to when I was about 29, right?
Mhm.
And it was very interesting, because a lot of what was a mystery to me, right? Why people behave like that with me? Why don't they love me? I'm lovable, right? Why do they beat me up? I'm friggin' lovable.
Right.
And I didn't, then I began, it was just like, like one of those slot machines when you won $100. It just
Uh-huh.
kept falling down. The pennies kept falling. And I became aware that it's about me. If I don't love me, if I don't even feel me, if I don't follow this impulse that keeps moving, pushing all the time, I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm not going to love myself, because I don't know. And that was really the first moment, which I call my soul encounter, right? Where I became truly aware again that it's my heart and the love for me, that I can love me with all my craziness, with all my being different. When the kids say, well, Mom, I don't get you. I said, well, don't worry about it. It's just me. Okay, as
Right.
I knew me. And so just observing that I was even bringing up the kids up to a certain point after my divorce in a very particular manner. And once they went to live there with their father, it was again another period where I then got to understand that even more role plays are dropping away. And then the real question was, well, what am I doing here? What's my, not even what's my purpose, because I couldn't even focus on a purpose. It was just, what am I doing here? Who am I?
And you were
You
left with
know?
yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, it just went from there. I moved to Spain, and from there on back to Germany, and then to the South Pacific. I lived there for 4 years. So I was always very curious. Hey, what is beyond my barriers, or what I'm supposed to be doing? And it was like a gliding into acknowledging that I'm a conscious being. There's a consciousness, something that we cannot define. And the most interesting part is it only knows itself, right? It's not even an energy. It just is an isness. And this is where being comes from.
It's
And
interesting, Claudia, that it's, I think our audience is just it, as an introduction to the Radical Rhythm podcast, we interview individuals who think outside the box,
Mhm,
um, uh, women who do it, whatever it is, their own
mhm,
way. And I think this introduction really helps the audience see that you do it
yeah.
your own way, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we were just talking a little while ago about my experience in college and how, as a freshman at 18, I took a class in philosophy for a day that they told me that I wasn't who I thought I was, and that just turned my world upside down. That I couldn't continue at that age. That my foundation. Um, I didn't feel comfortable enough in myself.
Yeah.
But yet this summer when I met you
Mhm,
online, I knew that working with you now was exactly the right thing at the right time because I started to become obsessed with deadlines and being who I wanted to be by a certain date. And you coming into my life just blew that out of the water that I don't need to be on this time
mhm,
continuum, right, for achievement. And I just
absolutely.
needed that just combusted, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm.
now I'm just left with myself. And you were just saying about being. And so what advice would you give my audience, as not the purpose of life, right? Because there is no purpose, there's isness and being here. Um, what kind of advice would you give them?
Sit down, breathe, and have a glass of good rum.
Why rum? Why not champagne?
Whiskey, whatever. Something that delights your body. Something where you think, wow, if I have 2 glasses, I'm going to become an alcoholic. This is too dangerous, right? And even if you want to smoke, smoke. I do. Okay. So just begin to take you as the experience, your body as the experiencer of the energy, and in a timeless zone. Because what has been happening, especially through this, we call it coronavirus time, right? It really means like sit back like a king, put your crown on your head. Corona is crown. And just observe what is occurring without making these things significant. Yes, acknowledging them, right? If there's a relationship that you're in that really isn't nurturing, right? Take your time. You've done nothing wrong. And nothing is wrong and nothing is right. It's an experience. You let yourself into experience. And take a sip of the rum or the whiskey. Or it can be Coca-Cola as well. And then you just breathe. You stay with you as the breath. Because in this corona time, that has really forced us, while everything was shutting down, to shut all ourselves down and up. Shut up. Let your brain shut up. Okay. And uh, observe what happens in between spaces. Consciousness for me is the breath, where it's actually feasible, right? Although it's nothing, okay? And it's the space between the cells, because cells in a body aren't stuck together. They're embedded in a jelly-like liquid, which is called the interstitial space. That's also consciousness. That's the space we can breathe into. There's space all around you, okay? Although at times it just feels very much like a jail, okay? Just recognize it, acknowledge it, breathe it. It's a jail I've constructed because I'm so super potent as not as the creator, because consciousness is the creator, but as an energy, to have chosen out of the energy to hear which song it creates. Well, it sounds like a bad rock concert. Okay. Which symphony would I like to listen to? Breathe into your heart and wait. Right, do nothing. The kids are screaming. Okay, kid, go and get an apple. I'll be cooking dinner soon. Okay? You want to play now? I'm playing with myself. Just hang in there. Observe. Right. Take life from a different angle.
So when I look at this,
Mhm.
and I look at our class the other night,
Yeah.
and dance. Tell me about dance and freeing the soul.
Well, the soul, for example, does not know sensuality. The soul doesn't know love. It receives the information, it receives the imprint of what it feels like through the human, through when he goes into experience. So if at any given moment I feel uptight because the walls of the jail are just about here, right? Put yourself on some music and go really with the breath into your body as a sensual experience, and go with the music. Don't think, oh, I have to dance like this, and my sister does this, and my brother does that, and I like that. No, forget all about that, right? Tell the mind to shut up and just flow with these, what your body would like to do. And this is a deep sensual experience, and your soul will begin to receive this information, what it feels like, and it distills it because it's related to pleasure. It's related to a passion that it knows itself from far back out of consciousness. Right? And when is the last time you who's watching this now has been passionate about themselves? Just because you are. Doesn't matter what you are. It doesn't matter. You could be sweeping the streets or working at the till at Tesco's. I don't care. Just be with you and have these experiences. Everything that we can do is a sensual experience. The other day, I ate an apple, and all of a sudden I stopped and I looked at the apple and I thought, well, this is his last life he's having as an apple. And he's becoming me as the creator and the creation of the creator. It's all going back to its source. What does it taste like? Right? How does it feel like in my mouth when I chew it? This is what I'm talking about. Taking your time with everything. And time in this sense, through this Corona period, also began to shatter. Time has never existed. We, as the humans, embedded in the system, have created time to have like an agreement. Okay, I'll meet you at 5 at the church, right? Wherever time that will be. But essentially, if you were to follow your inner knowing, this push, this drive, you would know, shit, it's 5 to 5. I better get my makeup on. I've got to be down at the church at 5. Okay, so just observe how many senses we've given up. And there's 200,000 angelic senses that we've just given up because we thought, I have to be on time. Time is everything. Okay, time's money. Okay, and all the rest of the stuff. Right.
I've become, very aware of time here, in that you're outside of Naples, Italy, and I'm outside of Evansville, Indiana. I'm in Central Time. You're in Italy, and it's like 7 hours difference.
Yeah.
And just figuring out the time for us to meet,
absolutely,
you really realize it's just constructed. It's not
Yes.
real.
Yeah.
Right.
But wasn't it interesting? We've been excited about this call since we've chosen to create it, right? And the sensual experience of the buildup of this energy. Wow, I'm going to meet her soon, okay? And then looking at the clock or watch and say, wow, 2 hours to go, okay? And what I find interesting in that, staying within this excitement, staying within this passion and this joy, right? Let's everything that is totally mindful, okay, mindful and clutters up, lets it go, because all there is this energy and this caring for to coming into this moment. And thank you, technology. I'm not good with technology, but thank you, technology, for giving us the possibilities to link up at this moment in time.
You know, what was interesting to me is our conversation the other night was you asked me a question, what do you feel from me? And the one thing that I see, I don't feel, I see online is you're smiling all the time. And that's wonderful. And I'm thinking, wow, is my face going to crack if I smile too much? Like, why don't I smile that much? And why don't I laugh as much as Claudia? You know, and
Yeah.
and you said, what did I feel from you?
Yeah.
And I said, I felt love.
Mhm.
And we just met. Like,
Yes.
where that word came from, I mean, it's a loaded word in the American
Oh yeah.
society. If you say
Oh
you
yeah.
love somebody, that means that you're going to leave your husband and move in and have an apartment and share bank accounts, right? So you're
Love
careful to
is,
use that word or not use that word, right?
do you know, it's really interesting because neither consciousness nor the soul ever knew what love was. And it's through our human experiences when we feel this total synchronization. This is a moment just to enjoy, because you're my counterpart. And in a sense, you are me as I am you. Although we're two separate, entire different realities as sovereign beings, right? But we have that one moment, and this is where the soul really gets it. And then it's like a deep imprint. So the human, because it will remember it. There will be this ding, ding, ding. There was something, right? Do you recall? Not remember. Do you recall? And yeah, that was a moment of ease. That was a moment of joy. I'm having that. No, full stop. Kids, husband, I'm just with joy. Just give me 2 minutes. Okay? And it becomes a natural state of being. For me, it's natural, right? What value do dramas have, truly? Right? They make you wrinkled. They make you poor in your pocket. They make you really bitter and sour, okay? And nasty with yourself. So would I choose that as a life? I've witnessed that. I've experienced that. So I'm choosing me. I'm choosing this joy, even if I feel shitty, crappy down to the core of the earth. I'm still choosing it, right? And then just breathe a little. Maybe I peel another apple, and all of a sudden it's there.
Yeah,
Right?
I think some people's happiness or unhappiness originates in their projection to another place and time that they're not.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sitting here, if you can see, if you're watching this on YouTube and not
Yeah.
on a
Yeah.
podcast,
Yeah.
you'll see I'm sitting in the Carter Johnson Library of Sex and Culture in Indiana. Now, so many people would want to be where I am, having this experience, living in a library. I look at you, Claudia, outside of Naples, where I want to be, and I want to read and write and experience the cathedral, and I want to
Yeah.
go to the sea. And
Yeah.
but if I am thinking about what I don't have, I'm not in Naples. And I don't put myself in the experience in the here and now in Indiana. then I'm unhappy,
Correct.
right?
Yeah. Yes. And this is what we've learned to do. And we learn that from very small onwards, okay? To project out what we would like to have. It starts with the parents, right? We have to be good to project out that we want to be loved. So if I'm being good, all right, first prison, then I will get this love. So my sister has a lollipop. I want this lollipop. First I start screaming, I don't get it. Then I whack her, my sister whacks me back, my mother comes, okay, takes the lollipop and went in and says, why did you hit her? Well, she hit me first. No, she's too little. She couldn't have hit you, and gives me the lollipop.
Right.
That's
It's the
the games that are happening all the time, right?
right. And
And
as adults as well. That
oh,
same scenario at
all
work
the time.
and someone gets accolades and that's the
And
lollipop.
basically it's the search for love. Why do we go into relationships? We're searching for love. We're searching for acknowledgement. And I'm not diminishing relationships by any means. But first, I need to have the relationship with me, my entirety. Right. And I'm not talking about saying male, female, and negative and positive and whatever. No, just with me. And if I have a desire to spend some time in Naples, I'm going to say, thank you very much. It's very nice here, but I'm just off for a few weeks. I have to experience something. Because that's so important, because I know there's something there for me, just for me. Yes, and your partner's going, oh, how could you leave me alone again? You've just been away. Well, darling, you enjoy when I'm away because there's less plates to wash, right? Okay. And you only have to change the sheets once a month. So I'm just going to be off. Please be okay with that. And if you're not, I don't even care. It doesn't matter. I'm
That
going to
is
be off.
radical, Claudia. That
It's
is
very
very radical.
radical. Yeah. Yeah. It's very radical. But you set them free that way. You set them also free.
So, Claudia, if somebody would want to work with you,
Yeah.
how would they go about doing it?
Well, they would contact me on my Facebook page. I've got a few, right, because I'm a bit diverse. So, through Claudia Brall, coach for potential and consciousness, something like that. And through my newly established page, Passion in Expression, right, you can find me. And I'm sure you're going to find me. I'll stand out. So,
You certainly do. You certainly do. The
so
first time we interacted on a call with many different people, I'm like, this woman is different than everyone else. I love it. I love it. And I'm like, I need to know more. And for those of you listening to this podcast, you can find Claudia's information in the description of the program. I'll have a link there for you.
brilliant.
Claudia, thank you so much for coming and sharing some of your wisdom and experience. I know it's a very small snippet,
Well,
but
we can always fraction it in another couple of sequences, just touching maybe on one theme, whatever.
absolutely, I would love to have you back again. Claudia, thank you. You have a wonderful day.
Thank
And
you. And thank you for receiving me. Thank you to all who are listening. And may your day be filled with joy and passion just for you.
thank you for listening to the Radical Rhythm podcast today. It has truly been my pleasure to invite guests and talk to you about my passion, the joy in our sexuality, and radical women who march to the beat of a different drum. If you'd like to work with me, Dr. Toni Baer, I have a community where I give seminars every month. I also have a coaching program, both group and individual, and also a course, a self-directed course, because it's all about experiencing the joy life has to offer. I'd love to work with you. Check out my link below, www.tonybearedd.com. See you next week, and don't let anyone dim your shine.